everyone, what is up and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Danielle. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure to hit that big red subscribe button and also hit my post notification bell to get notified of any time I post a new video. And also don't forget to follow me on all of my social medias. I always have them linked down below. But for today's video, I'm going to be talking about my cosmetology school experience. If you've been keeping up with my channel, then you probably know that I recently graduated from cosmetology school 2 weeks ago, and throughout my entire journey I've been posting videos related to cosmetology school and just sharing with you guys what it was like. But now that it's over, I figured I would do a completed cosmetology school experience video for you guys. I get so many questions and a lot of the questions are pretty much the same. So I figured I would just make a video talking about everything, answering your most frequently asked questions, and kind of just sharing with you guys my overall experience. So we're just gonna hop right on into it because I don't want to make this video extremely long, but I also want to make sure I answer everyone's questions and give you guys as much information as possible. So to start off, I just wanted to talk about a little backstory before cosmetology even started. So this wasn't actually my first plan. Right out of high school, I actually went to Rhode Island College for medical imaging. I did an entire video based on me dropping out of college and going into the cosmetology school field. So if you want to watch that video, I'll insert the card up here. But really quickly, I went to college for a year and a half and I just wasn't happy whatsoever. I cried every single day of school and I just knew I wasn't where I was supposed to be. It just didn't feel right, and I've always had a passion for makeup and hair and beauty in general. So it was something I always wanted to do, but I was always skeptical of what others would think and the money-wise situation, and I just thought it would be a better option to go into the medical field. I don't know what I was thinking, but I tried it. You know, you live and you learn. But yes, I did spend time at college before I decided to come to cosmetology school, so it was not straight out of high school. So once I decided to make the big change, to change my career, I took 3 months off from December to February, and then I started cosmetology school February of 2020. So I did end up going to Toni&Guy Hairdressing Academy. There were a few different schools in my location, which is going on to my next thing of choosing a school. I know every state is different, and some states might have just one school, some states might have 2 to 3, and some might have 5 and more. So where I'm from, which is the Massachusetts, Boston area, I had a lot of choices because I had the Massachusetts area and I also had the Rhode Island area. So I ended up going to Rhode Island instead. This is something to keep in mind too, because since I live in the Massachusetts area, but I went to school in Rhode Island, I got my license for Rhode Island, so I'd only be able to work in Rhode Island unless I took the Massachusetts test, or I think they might have changed it and you can pay to get your license in a different state. I don't know. Every place is different. But for Rhode Island, there was my school, Toni&Guy, and Paul Mitchell. And then for Mass, there were 2 other Toni&Guys, a Rob Roy, and I forget the last one. I always forget the last one. But I actually only toured Toni&Guy. I was thinking about going to Paul Mitchell, but I just knew so many people that went to Toni&Guy and they had so many good things to say about it. And the second I went to go tour, I just knew that that was the place I wanted to be. Everyone was so inviting. Everyone welcomed me. They were so nice. The atmosphere was perfect, and the building that we started at was so nice. There were many different sections for each phase, and I don't know, it just felt right. So I ended up going to Toni & Guy. And to answer my first frequently asked question, which is about like cost and tuition, another reason why I wanted to go to Toni & Guy was because I'm pretty sure the tuition was less than the others around me. So Toni & Guy for me was about $19,000 and change, but that is including your cosmetology school kit, which comes with so much. I did a cosmetology school kit video. I will also insert that card up here. So if you guys want to see that, you can. But you're basically paying for you being there, all of your tools, and just stuff like that. They also have like a financial advisor at Toni & Guy. I'm not sure if every school has one, but usually when you get to the school, before you even start, you meet with the financial aid. And if you apply for financial aid and get it, you will get a loan and stuff like that, which really isn't bad. You can have like different ways of paying. I know some of the girls paid monthly. I didn't because I paid a lot up front and then just used my financial aid loan to pay off when I'm done. So now that I'm done with school in 6 months, I'll just be paying monthly payments to make up for what I didn't put down before I started, if that makes sense. There's many different ways you can do it, so if you are thinking about going, just make sure you talk with someone, whether they're financial aid office or just anyone at your school that you choose, like that knows about that stuff. So now getting right on in to what we did, what we learned, and how everything went. So the very first day was probably like the best day because you go in, you open your kit, and if there's people who have been there already, they will like help you open your kit with you and make sure you have everything. That was probably like one of my favorite moments from school was the first day. And where I went to school, our first day, we hopped right on into it. Like, I remember we shampooed and conditioned our mannequin, and we did just like a simple blow dry. So they get you working hands-on right off the bat, which is so amazing. So because I was a full-time student, I went to school Tuesday through Saturday, 9 to 4:30, which is a 7.5-hour day. So it is a lot, but I just loved that they got you right on into hands-on so that you weren't just kind of sitting around and doing nothing. Like, for 7.5 hours, you are continuously doing something. No matter what it is, you're doing something, and that's what I loved. So how our schedule kind of went was, for the first hour, we did something called theory, which is your workbook and note-taking, and then we did a head sheet for whatever technique we were going to do. And then for the rest of the day, we were pretty much doing that specific technique. So I actually kept my study guidebook for this video to kind of just like show you what was going on. So during theory, this was all we did. It's a ton of book work, and I kind of just want to go through like the contents in this book to tell you what we did learn that wasn't like hands-on. So we learned life skills, which is basic communications, human relations, your body's health, and just like being confident. Then we learned science, which was so hard. It was like all biology. So we did the skeletal system, muscular system, circulatory system, nervous system, and then we also did like electricity. At first I was like, why do we need to learn electricity? But once we did learn it, I was like, wow, I'm so glad I learned that. And then we learned business, which was my favorite chapter. It was all about finding a perfect salon for you, setting your goals for a business, building your clientele, salon ownership, retail products, like it was everything. I loved that. And then we learned client-centered design, which is basically like the 4 steps of completing a service. So it's just like you connect with your client, you consult with your client, you create, do the technique, and then you complete. So We did that a lot. And then we just did cutting, hair design, long hair, wigs, color theory. So that was another one of my favorite chapters. It was all things color, and we talked about like oxidative colors, non-oxidative colors. That's also the color wheel and just stuff like that. And then the last three were perm, skin, and nails. So that is everything we learned that wasn't hands-on. But for what was hands-on, Toni and Guy has their own techniques. So in the classroom, we had to pretty much go over every single technique. I'll try to remember. Let's see if I remember. So there's the one-length haircut, there's inversion layers, round layers, square layers, men's cuts, graduated layers. And then as far as like lightening goes, we did classic T-section, classic half head, zigzag placement, and pretty much like full head of highlights. They didn't call it that. I forgot what it's even called, but we did that. And then for color wise, we did like an all over color, which is called a virgin tin, and pretty much just the Toni and Guy basic techniques. And then obviously once we like got out of the classroom, we were able to do some other techniques that weren't part of Toni and Guy, so like the balayage, ombre, and stuff like that. So you do learn stuff other than Toni and Guy techniques, which is amazing. But yeah, so that's everything we did and learned throughout like the classroom sort of. So as far as tests and grades go, that's like my next point. This whole entire workbook was a grade, and then once we did each chapter in the book, we had to take a pre-test and a test that pretty much went over everything in the workbook, and they were all online. So if you had like an iPad or your phone, we did all of the tests through there, and then whatever you got was put into the grade book. I'm pretty sure I had like a 92 overall average for when I graduated, which is really good. So for me, the tests were pretty easy. I did study. I had like a little study prep test book, which helped a lot, so that was pretty easy. So if you're worried about tests and stuff like that, don't be. It's fine. Now I want to talk about like the phases. I don't know if this is the same for every school, but for Toni and Guy, we had phases. So for the first 2 months, it's the classroom. Like that's the phase. The classroom. And now this is where I want to talk about COVID and the pandemic, because my situation is a little bit different than everyone else's because my experience was during this pandemic. So I was out of school for 3 months, but we were doing online Zoom. So pretty much for the time I was in Zoom, I was supposed to be out of the classroom and on my first phase of on the floor. And what on the floor means is you're no longer in the classroom, you're on the client floor, and you are able to take clients, not as much as the advanced on the floor girls, because out of the classroom we were like more intermediate. So you could take clients, I think it was maybe like 1 or 2 days, but I didn't get that experience because of COVID and being on Zoom. So really quickly, all we did on Zoom was bookwork. We had a lot of guest speakers, and we just watched a lot of videos, tutorials, and stuff like that, which did really suck for a while. For the first 2 months, I was very aggravated and upset and just mad. But once we got into the 3rd month, we started doing more hands-on stuff on our mannequins, which was really nice. And then once the 3-month mark was up, we were able to go back to the school. So that was so good. So when we went back to the school, obviously we couldn't take clients still, but we were able to work on our mannequin. And then after 1 month of being back in the school, Toni and Guy actually moved to a new building so that we were able to follow all of the COVID restriction rules and stuff like that. And we were able to take clients after that, which was so amazing, because if not, oh my god, I would have been so upset. But I was really grateful that for like the last 4 months of my school, I was able to take clients. And lucky enough for me, I pretty much had a client every single day I was allowed to take one. So I got really lucky with that because I was able to get all of my experience with taking clients, and it was awesome. Once COVID was done and we were able to take clients, I went straight to the advanced phase because the phases were kind of all messed up due to COVID. So I was in advanced for about 2 months, and then we went right to state board, which was for about a month and a half. So state board is pretty much your final phase until you take the state board. So for me, I took my state board a few months before I graduated. So after I took the exam, I was Salon Pro for like 2 or 3 weeks. And Salon Pro is the last phase where you take clients every single day. Like, that's all you do. You don't have to do any book work, no tests. You're basically just there until your graduated date. So those were all of the phases. And speaking of state board, I want to talk about that for a little bit. I am going to be doing a whole entire video based on state board and giving you like tips and tricks on how to pass and stuff like that. But I wanted to get this video out before that. But all I really have to say about state board is that for about a month, we did every single state board technique, which some were the exact same techniques as the Toni and Guy ones. But then most of the other techniques we've never learned. So once you enter state board, don't be alarmed if you don't know like what is going on because you've never done it before. But that's the whole reason why for the whole entire month you're just drilling all of those techniques and you're practicing until your exam. But I'm not going to say anything else because I am going to do a whole video on that. So now for finding a job, which is kind of like my last thing before I answer some frequently asked questions. Personally, finding a job for me was really easy. I made sure I was interviewing and emailing people way before I graduated. I actually emailed the salon I'm working at right now, I think 3 weeks, maybe a month before I graduated, and I made sure to do it early just to give me enough time to really decide where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. So I emailed them. I was lucky enough that they responded. I did an interview. It went so good, and now here I am and I work there. So I actually I only applied to this one salon because I was a little different. I saw this salon. I used to actually go to it to get my hair done, and I just have always loved this salon. It is beautiful. They have a little boutique in it, and everyone there is just super nice, and I knew that that was like the perfect salon for me. It was such a good location, really close to my house, and it was just where I wanted to work. I was looking at one other place but was like about it, so I only really applied to this one. But hey, I got the job, so it was really easy for me. The school didn't really help me find a job, only because I kind of took it into my own hands. I'm sure if I was struggling and went to my school for help, they would 100% help me, but I just didn't really have to ask because I did it by myself. So that's my input on that. But now for some of your frequently asked questions. But the first one was, what was I nervous about? So I get DMs and comments on my videos all the time saying, I'm going into cosmetology school, but I'm so nervous because I don't know what I'm doing. I talk about this all the time because truly no one knows what they're doing when they first start cosmetology school. If you do know what you're doing, congrats. But I know for sure I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even know how to French braid a person's hair, rather my own hair. Yeah, it was bad. But I think the one thing I was most nervous about was becoming discouraged. I get discouraged a lot. That's just me as a person, which sucks. But I've been working on it. I've gotten a lot better. But when I went into cosmetology school, I was super nervous about being discouraged and thinking I wasn't good enough and maybe giving up because I thought I couldn't do it. But luckily I didn't do that because all of my instructors helped me so much. All of my friends there helped me so much. They got me through it, and here I am now, all done with school and working at a salon. So if I can do it, you can do it. Next question is, did you make a lot of friends? So I did make a lot of friends. Actually, when I first went to the school, I made my first friend pretty much right away. Her name's Liv, and I still text her every single day, Snapchat her every day, like we FaceTime all the time, and I love her. She was like my first friend right off the bat because she was in the classroom with me. And then unfortunately COVID, like I wasn't really around anyone, so that kind of sucked. But once I got back, I made so many new friends, especially Hannah and Bella. If you're watching this, love you guys. But yeah, I made so many good friends. I was never like in any drama. I know drama can definitely go on in cosmetology school because it's a school full of girls, like I totally understand, but I never put myself in that situation. I was super positive like all the time and didn't interact with any drama, so I did make a lot of friends. Next question is cosmetology and esthetician the same? I get this so much. It is not the same, and this kind of leads into another question of, do you learn anything other than hair? So cosmetology school is hair, makeup, and nails. That's technically what you get licensed in. Nails is a little like iffy. I'm pretty sure you only get licensed in manicures and pedicures, but not acrylics. And then esthetician is mainly eyelash extensions, eyebrows as far as like laminations and microblading goes, and probably like waxing, facials, stuff like that. So they are totally different. My next question is, can anyone do it? Anyone can do cosmetology school. I get so many comments saying, I think I'm too old, or I'm a guy, can I do it? Or I think I'm not like the right look for it. I promise you, anyone can do cosmetology school. Whether you're male, female, other, 20, 40. Like there were some 40-year-olds at my school. Maybe not 40, maybe like higher 30s. And we did have some males. I'm pretty sure there were like 4 males. So anyone can do it. As long as you want to do it and you love it, do it. It's never too late. And my last question is, what was the worst and best part about school? So obviously the worst part about school was COVID and being home for 3 months doing only Zoom. That was like the worst part. But the best part was definitely after COVID, when I was able to take clients pretty much every day that I could. I got so much good experience from that, and just having like new friends around me. The last like 2 months of school were the best part of school for me, and I loved it. So that pretty much puts everything together with how my cosmetology school experience was at Toni & Guy. It was such a great 9-month journey, whether it was for COVID or not, but I'm just so grateful that I was able to pass my state board, graduate, and now work at a salon. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a huge thumbs up. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Follow me on all my social media, and I really hope I answered everyone's questions. If not, if you have a few more questions, always feel free to comment down below and even share your experience with me. I love seeing everyone's comments about going to cosmetology school or thinking about it. So yeah, share with me everything. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.